Hey folks, back with another video. This time I want to do a little side-by-side comparison between two knives I think are worth comparing. It's the Cold Steel Swift 2 on the left here versus the Benchmade 580 Barrage, 580 SBK Barrage. So I'll get a couple of stats out of the way at the beginning. We have a weight of 4.7 ounces versus a weight of 4.2 ounces, so a little tiny bit lighter. We have a blade length of 3.62 versus a blade length of 3.60, so very similar there. Overall length is 8.6 versus overall length of 8.3, so a tiny bit shorter, almost imperceivable. Blade thickness 3.5 millimeters versus 3.07 millimeters, so noticeably thinner blades. Something else I wanted to talk about with them before I deploy them is this one comes with a DLC coated blade, which is absolutely beautiful, like a black chrome finish, very nice, versus the Benchmade, which comes with more of a painted. So, deploying these things, both of these are assisted knives. This is Benchmade's Axis Assist, has a safety on the back spine here, so you can slide this little safety lever forward and no deploy, everything is locked. The little thing comes across the ball here and pull it back, away she goes. Now, unlike most axis assists, most axis locks, it won't, the spring keeps it straight, so it's a two-handed operation. If you pull back on this and give it a little shake, it comes out real easy, and you can kinda one finger it closed. So that's the action on the Benchmade 580. The action on the Cold Steel is a little different. Still fast, very fast. It's a triad lock, and the spring engages a little earlier, so no cutting the fingers. It kind of rests on the spring here. There's a little stiff spot, and then you can kind of close the rest against the spring tension. One thing I'll say after carrying the Cold Steel Swift for a while is that, I'm trying to do this on the camera, it's a hair trigger. It really is. It could do with a safety. It could definitely do with a safety. I found even if you just kind of give it a slight bump, just a slight bump, it comes out. So I could see if you slipped on the ice and fell down or something, this thing deploying in your pocket, which would make falling on the ice that much worse. So for that reason alone, I love I really like the Benchmade, because the safety's off here now, it's ready to go. And if I try the same deal with it, it actually bounces a little bit on the spring. The spring kind of comes out and then snaps it back, even to around here. It can move out that much and the spring will still retain it. Now if I release this, it comes out easier than the Cold Steel. But with the lock engaged, it's far more forgiving, and with the safety engaged, it's slipping on the ice proof. You know what I mean? So I kind of like that for sure. Let's do it side by side here. I think the Benchmade deploys just a hair faster. A hair faster, not much quicker. But again, very similar. Similar in thickness. Different lock systems altogether. Different blade coatings. I really think the Cold Steel looks a little nicer in the blade coating. But it's definitely more reflective than your Benchmade. Doesn't reflect very much light at all. Pocket clips are similar length. The Cold Steel is very hard in and out of the pocket. It's very tight. The triad lock is rather hard on the thumb. everything about the cold steel is a little more uncomfortable. The grips are very similar. I shouldn't say everything. The grip is very comfortable on this. Both feel really similar in hand. If in a blind test you'd have a hard time telling, I think. Actually, this is wider across the thumb rib for sure. From here to here versus here to here. Much more thumb pad up here and the Benchmade. But there it is, two knives that are very similar. So what's my verdict on it? I've had the cold steel for 3 months, and I've only had the Benchmade for 2 weeks. I'd rack the Benchmade a lot more, and not just because it's new. Just it's a little nicer, it's a little thinner. I feel a little more secure with that safety engaged in this thing in my pocket. I really question the hair trigger thing of this thing. It's pretty quick deploying. Another reason, I guess, another partial reason too is the thickness of the blade, the width of the blade. It's a much narrower, much sleeker design on the Osborne design blade here, and the Benchmade Barrage. And the cold steel has a much more spear point. Very, very different in thicknesses, aren't they? Yeah, I guess that wraps it up. That's pretty much the comparison I wanted to make between those two knives. Similar yet different. And I'm sure in a few months maybe my opinion will change as the novelty wears off the new Benchmade. And I did carry the cold steel for a while. The clip held up great. The paint never came off the clip very much. A few little scuffs on it maybe, but other than that, yeah, there it is. Clip held up really well. Nice close-up look at the G10. And again, that awesome DLC coating. Just looks wicked. Reminds me of the black chrome that they use on guitars. CTS XHP made in Taiwan. And I guess we should give the Benchmade the same kind of treatment. I don't think the coating is going to hold up as well. It looks like it's already showing as much wear as the 3-month-old cold steel. 154 cm. And again, like most all Benchmades, I guess it's USA made, model 580. Nice close-up look of the safety engaging here. You see this little tab sitting in here. There you go. Milled out liners inside here. Closed back construction. Versus not so milled out liners in there. Sort of milled. Also closed back. Another thing I wanted to mention about these two knives is the cold steel Swift here is like most other pocket knives you'll see. The pivot screw, the back side of the pivot screw, and the adjustable side with the Torx bit is all exposed like every other knife I think I own. Whereas the Benchmade 580, the pivot screw is under the scale, which makes a really nice sleek look, and I really see no need to muck with it anyway. If I had to, I'd just pull the screws. I could take the scale off. But yeah, thought that was worth mentioning. The Benchmade 580 is like changing the battery on your car, and you got to take half the motor apart to get at the battery. You know what I mean? It's like that. So there you go. Thought I'd want to throw that in there too. Well, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.